right? But also the Bills pretty beat up, especially in the secondary. They do have Josh Allen. That helps. Here's Sean McDermott earlier today.
You look at what Josh has been able to do, and then you look at Lamar's game, and they're a little bit different in terms of, you know, their strengths maybe, and but just it's good for the league. I mean, these are two young quarterbacks that play at such a high level. They give you headaches. They're hard to stop because of they're multidimensional and what they do and how they can do it. And so a lot of respect, I'm sure, around the league for Josh. And, of course, we love Josh and a lot of respect for Lamar in this case, too.
You know, it's interesting. Our colleague Mina Kimes said that watching that loss to the Dolphins, Josh Allen started to look a little bit like the old Josh Allen at times, which is hard to do. You make new habits, right? But sometimes you revert back. So the Bills coming off that first loss of the season, what do they need to do to get things fixed this week?
Teams are going to follow what the Dolphins did, at least philosophically. What teams are going to realize is you can't stop this Buffalo offense for a game, but you can try and stop it for a half. And that's what the Dolphins really did. They sent one game plan for the first half, one game plan for the second half. So the Bills offense and Ken Dorsey, their play caller, start to get ahead of that. You can't just go into the second half with the same type of, I guess, it's not a different scheme, but the way you want to handle your scheme, right? So that's a big learning moment for them because I honestly believe teams are going to copy that. Second thing, Dawson Knox. Their playmaking tight ends got to get really much more involved in this offense. Right now, he's got 9 catches. This is a great way to illustrate it. These among 50 routes ran by these tight ends, he's the 3rd lowest when it comes to how many times he's been targeted. I mean, he's 15th in catches. He's 20th in targets. This is he's got the same, almost similar amount of targets as Hunter Henry, who's part of the offense that's struggling, and Mike Gesicki, and they threw the ball 18 times last week. So really learn from that game against Miami defensively, and then we really got to. He's a playmaker for them, Dawson Knox. He's got to get more involved in their offense.
I love what you said about the first one because remember last year we talked about Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati, and what he did to Patrick Mahomes from first half to second half.
Right.
Once you reach a certain level, which Josh Allen has reached, you got to start making minor adjustments, start dropping Trey Hendrickson out. That's not my point, but I'm going to go here. Can't throw the ball 63 times. And I know y'all get tired of me saying it, but you have to figure out a way for this offense to function if you're Ken Dorsey and not panic, right? Miami was stopping the run. They gave up at one explosive play, but you have to leave tidbits for teams because now I at least have to plant it in your brain. What were we screaming in that playoff game that I referenced last year? Why won't Kansas City hand the ball?
Just hand the ball for just 5 hands.
Yeah, just try it. So this was the first time this season where I believe the difference between Ken Dorsey and Brian Daboll lived. When we start talking about the second half of that Miami Dolphins game. And you learn from it, right? And you move forward. I think that's the case. I don't want Josh Allen throwing 63 passes a game, and I think Josh Allen is a top 3 thrower in the NFL.
Sure.
But that is not going to sustain you if you're trying to win a Super Bowl for the rest of the way.
They've got to, first of all, they need to get more balance, right? Just like they were the first 2 games of the season. But they got to finish games. There's too many times that when you look at the Buffalo Bills, whether it was last year, the year before, or even this year, it almost feels like they don't finish. They finished against Tennessee. They finished against the Rams. They did not finish against Miami. They're going out of bounds didn't go out of bounds at the right time. Just little things like that, little details that really matter that you should know going into a game. Hey, this is what we got to do. We're on the road to screw things up. And I think they will get back to that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You're the only person that has won a Super Bowl. Was the details the difference in the previous year to the next one? Is that the biggest thing you think more than anything?
We had different coach, by the way.
Right.
Dungy was the 1 year, then John Gruden took over, and we clicked in the playoffs the way we needed to. We was able to be portable and carry the running game along with Brad Johnson, you know, chucking and ducking for the most part, just dinking along the way, and our defense came to the party.
Can I just, on top of what Keyshawn said when he said –
Keyshawn.
He's trying to talk
they got to get balanced. So often people think balance is 50% run, 50% pass.
It's not.
Balance is no matter the situation, I can do either or.
Interesting.
And that's where I believe Buffalo can grow. It's not panic time, all that. But I believe that they can get to that point.
And this is good for them, right? Coming out of last season to this season, we all wanted to see, can they do something big? They went on a Thursday night. They smacked the Rams upside the head. Now
Monday
they lose
night.
to Miami. Now they got a Baltimore team with a crazy quarterback that can do some stuff. This is another test for you. Let me see if you can pass this test.
Yeah, you heard Sean McDermott referencing it. If you like quarterback play and like two young stars of the game, this game at 1 p.m. on Sunday is going to be electric. We're just getting... Welcome to NFL Live. Keyshawn and Orlovsky. You got Swagoo here. Dan is so excited about Lamar Jackson. He couldn't wait to get to his tapes. We're just going to start the show with
We got to call him Lamar plus. You guys see the Hulu plus commercials?
Yeah,
we got Lamar plus. Now we're getting a little bit of like the traditional run game Lamar, right? The new age triple option, which I love, right? I can hand this ball off if I want. They got 6 guys in the box, not an option, so now it becomes a zone read off his defensive end. If he steps down, shoot, Lamar will take it himself. That's option number 2. So option number 3, if he stays inside, I kick the ball out to the tight end, lead blocker on the front. But this is where he's gone to the next level, connecting all the dots. Can you get through progressions in man-to-man? I love this, okay? Formation into the boundary, 4 strong. I'm going to speed motion to back. Does the defensive end or linebacker run with them? Step number 1. They did, so he's an X. Connect the dots to number 2. Shallow cross. He's covered. Connect the dot to number 3 in the deep cross. He's covered. Now connect the 4th dot. Everybody is vacated. Here comes Devin Duvernay on that man-to-man progression. Now listen, in man-to-man, and Keyshawn knows this, a lot of times it's like I'm going to pick my guy and he's going to win because of it. Look at Lamar's eyes. 1, nope. Connect the dot. 2, that guy's not there either. Man, am I going to run out of the pocket? Nope. 3, something that's a little hop back to number 4. He's not just saying, I'm only going to throw at that guy because he's my best option. That is that different version of Lamar Jackson right now, and that is what he's doing better this year, candidly, than he's ever done in his NFL career.
Maturity. Every single year you're going to get better at, that, Dan. They're going to break down the film in the offseason. He's going to go to the well. And now he has true receivers that are helping him out.
That's the point. You got
that
better
makes
players
a big
around
difference. Speaking of that, John Harbaugh spoke about Lamar and his playmakers today. Listen to this.
Yeah, definitely part of the equation for sure. There's no doubt about it, Cliff. He's putting the ball in good spots for him. He's holding the ball. He's got a lot of courage in the pocket, so he gives him another step or 2 sometimes to get open. All those things are big.
That helps. One of the big questions surrounding Lamar Jackson entering this season was, could he step up his play against the blitz? He's answered that quickly through 3 games this season, ranking 1st in the league in QBR, yards per attempt, and touchdown to interception ratio. That's after ranking bottom 10 in the league in all those same areas last season. Marcus, we all know the story, right? Lamar's bet on himself. He didn't end up negotiating a contract in the offseason. He said, fine, I'm going to just keep playing. No big deal for me. What stuck out to you so far out of him?
Intangibles, right? Like, we know Lamar is dealing with a contract, but Lamar knows as well. And giving him credit for not letting that influence him trying to do too much, he's just being Lamar. Right? I think he's going back to really just becoming more of a playmaker when things break down as opposed to trying to stand there and prove that he can do it. Dan, that was such a great tape because the natural progression of a quarterback that you see over long term, that's where you got to get to. But the legs, man.
Yeah.
Like that's the dominant part of Lamar Jackson's game when things break down around him or when he's implemented into the QB run game. Forget the numbers, all right? I'm talking to you as a defensive player. Do you know how much plan you have to have for what Dan just showed when one play gives you 3 options?
Yeah.
3 options off that play. And not only that, you dealing with a 4-3, 4-2, 40 running back in case something breaks down. So I think he's taking advantage of the full boat. Obviously, this team being healthy offensively than they were last year is starting to pay dividends. But Lamar has not only progressed when it comes to in the pocket, Lamar also has went back to, I think, his MVP season and said when the play needs to be made, it's going to be me.
You're not forcing it either, though.
Yeah.
He's not forcing I need to go be a playmaker. He's saying, okay, nothing else is there. Now I can. I think that's a little bit different
as well. It's the growth and maturity, like I said before. When you look at the quarterback position, he's young. He comes in, he's forced into the lineup behind Flacco. He does what he needs to do. Then he learns how to mature as a passer. Yeah. He's only gotten better. You can go 2 years ago, he was still ripping the football and doing those things. On the other end, they wasn't catching it, though. Now, all of a sudden, the receivers are catching it. They're doing their job. So it naturally makes everyone's eyes seem to think that he's doing something way different when he truly isn't.
That's fair.
He's
doing it better.
He's doing it better.
Yeah, and more efficiently. The question will become from the people, like Stephen A. is going to say, can you do it in the playoffs, right? How sustainable is this offense?
Fair.
That's a fair question.
Fair question.
Because, I remember sitting with Brandon Beane, the general manager of the Bills, and he said, usually when you get into the playoffs and it becomes your last game, you get exposed of what you don't do well. And the question will be, okay, first of all, J.K. Dobbins, healthy. Left tackle, are you healthy? And can the defense be complementary to their offense? The big question I will want answered for Lamar when they get into those playoffs, will you do the efficient or easy plays consistently?
Yeah.
That'll be the big question. Can you do in that moment? Because what teams are going to try to do as this season goes and into the playoffs is they'll try to take away those triple option plays. Or they'll try to take away some of the things that, instead of collapsing one of those defensive sides on the football field down, they'll just try to condense the pocket a little bit and really try to keep, easier said than done, but try to keep him in there. And will he do those really easy plays that for him are pointless in a way?
Let me say this too. I think the conversation around Lamar has become very polarizing, right? Lamar Jackson is not above reproach or critique.
Sure.
He would say that, by the way.
Last year we talked about you are too careless with the football.
Yeah.
You got to fix that.
Try to do too much at
times. Trying to do too much. So as he continues to progress, we know, here's the deal. As you continue to play better, as you've already been a league MVP, the stakes raise and they get higher.
Sure.
Right? Just like we talk about Aaron. We don't judge Aaron Rodgers on winning regular season games anymore.
Right.
It's about what you're going to do when you get into the playoffs.
Right.
Lamar Jackson has entered that conversation. So for anybody out there, it is fair to ask, what will he be when the playoffs begin?
Right.
And the reason why the conversation changed around Josh Allen was because of Kansas City last year.
That's a great point.
That's why the reason. That's why.
And it's funny
changed.
because they didn't even win that game, but
Exactly.
because they got so close and you saw
and you knew he
dynamic
was good
play
enough to do it.
on the biggest
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of the Bills, let's get to them. Losing to the Dolphins in Miami last week, they ran out of time at the end. It credit the undefeated Dolphins.